I am a fugitive from the quilt police. Hi everybody, it is April. I am in my craft room. If you want to learn how to make quilts or just see the different kinds of quilts that I am making, and you are not all caught up in things that the quilt police require, you're at the right place. I don't have a lot of time. I have a full-time job. I have grandkids. I have elderly parents, and I have a lot of things going on, but I love making quilts. So I'm going to show you the April way of making quilts. I've washed my quilts a million times. They don't fall apart. I just don't necessarily follow all the rules. Today, I'm going to be using the fabric from the Kentucky Shop Hop. Let me show you the fabric that I have, and then I have an idea in my head. Scary, right? Meet me at the design wall. Oh, good, I do have background. So, there is a panel. And I am going to cut up the panel, so don't get all upset yet. It's going to say, don't get your panties in a wad. All right, so this is the panel. And it's very Kentucky because it's got these beautiful horses. I love it. So I am going to cut that up and I'm going to use the blocks. So I need to measure to see about how big those blocks are. Oh, love them. Okay, and then I've got okay, I had to buy more than one panel. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, this is what I'm really excited about. This is the border, and it is beautiful. It's the same flowers that the horses are made of, and it's got butterflies. Here, I'm gonna hold it closer so hopefully you can see how pretty it is. And is there the butterfly? Okay, so there's a monarch butterfly, and there's also, oh, and maybe the black and white is a moth. I'm not sure, but it's just so pretty. My plan is to sew strips together with different widths, and then I'm going to have them in blocks on the diagonal. We'll see what happens. I'm thinking that should be enough for my strips. And then maybe I can do some of the fat quarters in strips as well to get a little variety. So we have shading around the horse. It's very subtle, but it just gives it some dimension. So let's meet at the cutting table. I'm going to clear off the cutting table and figure this out. I've also got this with the flowers with the white background. I can at least get a strip or two. So let's put this here. Okay, where is my handy dandy ruler? So this is a little bigger than 12 inches. So I'm going to put it here, and you can tell they're a little askew, which is fine. Now, it helps if you use your ruler the right way. I think it's 12. It's probably some crazy 5/8 and something. 12 and not quite. Let's see. Yeah, let's say 12 3/4. So I am going to start by cutting these blocks. cool is it that they got Jason Yenter? So let's cut this with my stripology ruler. Okay. Now I'm not really too terribly concerned about what width I cut these. I don't want to cut them too fat because that, I don't know. I don't know if it'll work or not. So I'm just cutting, not looking at the numbers. I'm just cutting. Okay, I think that'll do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Looks like I cut those the same size, doesn't it? I'm going to try and do a couple at a time. So I'm going to take these to the sewing machine and sew them together. And then we'll see if my plan will work. Okay. So let's press these guys open. And then we'll just do like this. So we can put those two together. I need this to be 9 1/4 by 9 1/4. And my corner squares, not my half square triangles, need to be 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. Let's see, pull out this ruler, do 9 1/4. Okay. Now I need to make my square 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. And since I've already wasted this, I might as well just continue wasting it. All right. So okay. Let's take this back and iron it. Yeah, I want these particular jeweled top pins, and I will sacrifice my finger to get it. Okay. Ah! It's an after the fact sacrifice, but a sacrifice nonetheless. Okay. Oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna love this. We'll see. Okay, so I am causing myself extra work because I didn't cut these down. I just decided to deal with it, and I will. So then I would have this next to it. This is why you have to pay for patterns, because it's really not that easy. It just isn't. Oh my goodness, it's so not straight. That's gonna be pretty. Why can't I come up with a simple pattern? Let's see if I can add a border. Okay. This is what I've done so far. I am going to put together a pattern to share with everybody. It's not going to be exactly like my pattern because it's going to be easier. So what I've done is I have incorporated smaller blocks that are square and a square with larger blocks that are square and a square. Simply because I tried different sizes and I didn't want to waste the fabric that I had already done to create them. I ended up having to cut down my panel squares to a smaller size, but then I used the background fabric that went with the collection by Jason Yenter from in the beginning. And he is the one who actually curated this whole collection. Then I noticed that this fabric, which is a Tim Holtz fabric, looks really good with those colors. So I wanted to find a way to incorporate that. And it is block mosaic. This is all I have. I may have some in the scraps, but I'm not going to go digging through those right now. So I wanted some way to incorporate this, but I can't use a lot of it because it's going to be overpowering. Then I had a brilliant idea. Well, I think it's brilliant. So, you know how I said I was probably going to be hoarding my border fabric? Well, I wanted something to go in between this set of blocks and this set of blocks that I haven't put together yet. Something, a strip of some kind, of some width from here to here, and then these would go underneath it. And at first I thought maybe I put a star. So I could put a star block here and then these strips of fabric, because I have lots of strips that I have sewn together and still need to sew together, and I could put those on both sides of the star. Well, I used my electric quilt 8 and I looked at what it looked like. Now that isn't the same as looking at this, but it didn't look quite right because I've got these blocks and then a star, which I would want to be in the center, and it just, I don't know, it just wasn't cohesive. So then I thought, wait a minute. I have this beautiful border fabric, and I bought all of it that I could get my hands on. So, you know, and this is not going to be a giant quilt. So what if I put this border, let me get a pin, put this border in between using this top border that is part of the border. This top border is part of, anyway, and then put those blocks under this. I think it looks great. So that is what I'm going to do. And at least if I hoard the rest of it, I did use some of it. So now we have that all figured out. Let's go over what I did with a panel block in order to keep everything lined up. I want to show you how I added this background fabric to the small blocks and the panel blocks in order to make them all 14 inches square. Now on this last row where I have 2 blocks that are already 14 inches, I just had to make my panel pieces bigger. Let's go to the cutting table. Essentially what I'm doing is I am adding a piece to the side and then a strip, or a strip to the side and a strip to the bottom. I am not trying to figure out how to make it a 14 and a half inch block and then divide it by 2 and all that. That's not doing it. Not doing it. All right. So what I'm going to do here, I believe this is probably 12 by 12. I have already straightened out. Yeah. 12 by 12, give or take. So in order to make it 14, I have to add 12 plus 2 is 14. So I have to add 2.5 inches. Now I believe this is a 2.5 inch strip, and it is. But let me just kind of, yep, that's what I'm going to do. Cut it without having an actual ruler. All right, and this is what I had left of my background fabric, so I had to go get more. It was awful. Had to go to the quilt shop and, you know, somebody had to do it. Might as well be me. I may have another 2.5 inch strip. Now I need 14 inches. Of course, I'm using one ruler to do one thing, another ruler to do another, so, you know, who knows. But essentially, this is what's going to happen. And here it is. So I could have put the strip on the top and this side, but I didn't. Okay, so here, see how that's not straight? Shocking, I know. Let's see. And this is not 14 inches. Let's see if this is. Nope, 13.5. So I am not calculating. And then I'd have 2.5. So this is 2.25 and 11.75. Oh my goodness, I am so goofy. Okay, it is 14. Yeah. Learn to read your rulers. It'll help. Okay. Okay, it's 14 by 14. My goodness. Let's go put it on the wall. Well, first of all, we can move all these down because they are going to go lower. All right. And where did I come up with 14? Just because an 8.5 inch block, or is that 9.5? This is probably 9.5 inch block with 7.5 inch triangle corners ends up being 14 inches. So I just stuck with that. Okay, I don't think I moved him down far enough. But that's okay. All right, so this guy is going to go here. But he's not. He's going to go lower. Okay. So now I need to do the same thing with all of my blocks that are not 14 inches square. Which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to do that really quickly. And then I'm also going to cut out the border because I'm really excited about that. All right, I wanted to show you all how I overcome my affliction of not being able to cut a straight line or do quilt math. I know that I want my blocks to meet where they both end. So here I've got a block that's bigger than this block. And what I'm doing is I am matching my seams, and then I finger pressed this seam so that it would nest correctly. Same thing. So I just go along. I didn't clip that in the right spot. Good thing I'm double checking, huh? Okay. So I am going along here. I know this is the end of this block. This is the end of the block on top. Nesting seams. You don't have to use pins. You can use clips if you don't have any other unevenness. Now this block is a little bit bigger than this block, but not that much. So I'm going to nest these seams. And when I sew, this will stretch out enough that it won't be a problem. Got some thread there, buddy. Okay, got that. Now, let's sew our blocks together. Because this is where you're going to get the t-shirt issue. And there's my Oliver. Oh, Oliver, it's so good to have you back. So good, so good. Yeah. Here is the second section of our quilt. All right, now I just need to cut one of these borders to go in it. Let's see. Okie dokie. I know that I don't want the bottom because there's only one border. So let's see, and it's folded over. So I need to, okay. I'm going to, let's see, how am I going to measure this for 56 inches? Look, these flowers come over the border. Well, that might be a problem. I love the way they come over the border, but I don't want to cut that off. So maybe I will take this side. Okay, this is a dilemma. Okay. That wasn't that horrible. See these cute flowers? Okay. Let's go see what it looks like on the design wall. So we're going to do this way. Nope. Yep. That's okay. Much rather it be a little long. All right, so let's look at that. Oh yeah. My quilt top is complete. I had a few test borders before I came up with this one. Now this is the blue colorway of the collection that goes with the rest of these fabrics. I tried, and I really wanted this one to work, the Tim Holtz fabric. It looks good in theory, but I think it's just too busy and it kind of took away from the rest of the quilt. So when that didn't work, I had another version of Tim Holtz. This is the large blocks. Now, I believe there's a medium block in between. I have no idea what I've done with it. So if we put this here, this I don't think was bright enough. So that just didn't do it either. So I ended up going with the blue floral. I also auditioned a couple fabrics to go in between the quilt and the floral border. I just couldn't find anything. I thought, you know, there is violet or purple that's in this quilt. So I thought this was a really pretty color. But again, when you put it next to the rest of the quilt, especially, here, let me see if I can fold this back. Especially with all the other colors, the blues and the yellows and the oranges, it just did not go. I didn't think. So I'm very pleased with the border that I did pick. So I will have a quilt pattern. Your blocks are all going to be 14 inches. Now, if you use panel pieces in your quilt, then you may have to add fabric around that panel piece to get to the 14-inch block. It just depends on your panel. I don't know of many panels that have a 14-inch size square in them, but you might be able to find one. Couple things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I am considering starting a sew-along. And there is a book from Moda, and there are 12 fat quarter patterns in the book, and each of those patterns calls for 12 fat quarters. So if you would be interested in sewing along, you would buy the book, and then you could either use fabric that you already have, or I'm going to curate a bundle of fabric that I'm going to use for the quilt that I'm working on, and you would be able to purchase that fabric as well. Let me know in the comments below if that is something that you would be interested in. I just have all kinds of ideas. So that's one of them. Another one, I was contemplating what my next series would be or what kind of content I wanted to put out. And I thought something that might be fun, especially for those beginners who may have started in the middle. And maybe we could take a step back and work on different block patterns. We would start with easy, like a 4-patch, and just work up to the harder patterns. If anybody is interested in that, let me know in the comments below. I would also have a handout. So it would be an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It would have a picture of the block, the measurements that we used to make that block, and maybe any extra information that I wanted to include. So you would be working on a library of blocks. Let me know if you're interested. Another thought in my head, and mainly this is for me, and if you would like to come along, I think that would be awesome. I'm going to start doing one live a week. I'm toying around with the idea of doing a Tuesday, and maybe it would be a Thursday. I have to see which one works better. Again, in the comments below, let me know if you would be interested in watching my live once a week. It would be for an hour. And the first live is going to be embroidery. So there is a Designs by Juju mini quilt. and it is for September. So I want to work on the September block and get it done. It would give me an opportunity to answer any questions that you all have. Also, maybe you have some suggestions as to what you would like to see in a live. Some weeks I might just be working on whatever it is I need to get done in order to put my video tutorial out. Some weeks, embroidery. Some weeks, maybe scrap quilting. I've got scraps left over from these projects that I'm making that I want to go ahead and sew up and get into a quilt. So again, I'm wanting all kinds of feedback from this video. If you would be interested in a live, either a Tuesday or Thursday, let me know which day works better for you all. And I'm thinking around 7 p.m. Eastern time. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Also, I'm going to be going to Bavaria and Austria in the winter of 2027. I'm giving you lots and lots of heads up time so that you can save up. We're going to Christmas markets. We are going to see where the Sound of Music was shot. I'll put a link in the description below so that you can go and see what all it is we're going to see. We will be staying at the same hotel the entire time, so it's not anything where you have to unpack, pack, go somewhere else, unpack, pack, that kind of thing. So I'm really looking forward to it. I want to thank you all for watching. I'm so appreciative of the fact that you take your time and you spend it with me. And I do very much appreciate that. Without you all, I wouldn't have this mess in my room. Just kidding, kind of. Also, let me know what you think about this quilt. It was kind of just in my head and I was winging it the majority of the time. Speaking of panel quilt, the Fabric Cafe ladies have been busy, 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 busy. They've put out so many great books. I have not been able to keep up by making the quilts that are in their books, but I have some more of these beautiful horses and some of the coordinating fabric from the Kentucky, Tennessee Shop Hop. So I'm going to be using one of these panel quilts, or using one of these panel patterns. And let me show you the back, because here you can see, hold on. Okay. I'm going to be using the one with the horse heads and the hearts. Let me know what you think about that. Also, I have another panel quilt that I want to make, and it is from Panel Perfect 3-yard quilts. It's really dark right here. I think I need to get more light. Okay, and here are the panel quilts that are in this book. I'll take a picture of both of these. And then there's one that's got the wolves that looks really cool. And again, I will take a picture. It's kind of got an illusion thing going on there. You know, panels are misunderstood. They can be so beautiful and make a quilt that is so much fun. The people that are getting quilts from me, they don't care if it's a panel. They're not judging, you know. They're cuddling up in their quilts and enjoying them. So if you would like to become a fugitive from the quilt police with me, then subscribe so that you don't miss another episode. Also, you can click that bell and pick the bell that has the little marks on either side of it. That way you know every time that I put out a new video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Eat some chocolate and be kind to everyone. Until next time, bye. little zip zip.